הניצחון הזה מחייב כניסה לחיסול דעת הכיבוש. זה יקרה?
A day after Israel reduced its troop presence in southern Gaza, Netanyahu escalated his commitment to invade Rafah. He has declared a specific date for the Rafah invasion, underscoring the imperative of deploying ground forces into Rafah, which he identifies as Hamas's last stronghold in Gaza.
Today, I received a detailed report on the talks in Cairo. We are working all the time to achieve our goals, primarily the release of all our hostages and achieving a complete victory over Hamas. This victory requires entry into Rafah and the elimination of the terrorist battalions there. It will happen. There is a date.
The United States, Israel's closest ally, cautioned that Netanyahu's plan to invade Rafah would compromise Israel's security. They contend that a ground operation into Rafah would be a mistake and have demanded a credible plan to safeguard the 1.4 million civilians in the region.
We have made clear to Israel that we think a full-scale military invasion of Rafah would have an enormously harmful effect on those civilians and that it would ultimately hurt Israel's security. So it's not just a question of Israel presenting a plan to us. We have made clear to them that we think that there is a better way to achieve what is a legitimate goal, which is to degrade and dismantle and defeat the Hamas battalions that still remain in Rafah.
As the IDF prepares for a potential invasion of Rafah, ceasefire negotiations in Gaza remain deadlocked. A Hamas official said Monday no progress had been made at talks in Cairo on a ceasefire in the Gaza war, as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said a date was set for an invasion of Rafah, the enclave's last refuge for displaced Palestinians. Simultaneously, the US asserts that it is exerting all possible efforts to broker a ceasefire agreement, with the onus now on Hamas to respond.
As has been publicly reported, Director Burns was in Cairo over the weekend as part of the hostage negotiations. I don't have a specific update to provide you today, but the administration is doing everything possible to broker a deal that secures the release of all the hostages and leads to an immediate ceasefire. And there's simply no higher priority. Where we are now is that a proposal has been presented to Hamas, and we're waiting on Hamas's response.
Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah launched a scathing attack on Israel, asserting that a ceasefire would constitute a defeat for Israel. In a televised address to the nation, he branded Netanyahu as detached from reality, suggesting that it is the US that holds sway over Israel.
When a ceasefire is announced in Gaza, this will be a historic defeat for Israel, for the person of Netanyahu, for the Likud party, for Ben-Gvir, and for Smotrich. The latest call from Biden confirms everything we said previously, that when the Americans want to stop something, they stop it. That the Americans cannot impose on the Israelis is useless talk. You know that such theories exist, that Israel is the one that rules America, not my dears. It is America that rules Israel. There is a person disconnected from reality named Netanyahu. Yesterday, what was he saying in the enemy government's meeting on Sunday? He says, "We are one step closer to absolute victory." Why did I tell you on Friday that you was still amnesiac? Then Sunday came and the whole world was saying that you were a loser.
The latest discussions come in the wake of international condemnation of Israeli airstrikes that resulted in the deaths of 7 humanitarian workers affiliated with the World Central Kitchen charity. The Israeli military characterized the incident as a tragic mistake. Israel has pledged to open additional border crossings into Gaza and increase the flow of aid. However, the UN reports that in March, 85% of trucks carrying food aid were either denied entry or faced impediments.